UN News.
I brought this partially because it looked familiar, right? When I saw these images being put out, I went, I recognize that. My fucking memory banks decided to pull the dusty fucking book off its shelf that these images were located in. So we'll get to what I mean in just a second. But first, I'll explain what I'm talking about, right? This is from Brett Wilkins over at ScheerPost, right? And this is, again, September 2nd, right? A couple days ago, yesterday, right? Trump admin circulating plan, right? Circulating plan to transform depopulated Gaza into high-tech cash cow. And you see these AI images. Keep these in your head. We'll get to where they come from in a second. Right? So, White House is circulating a plan to transform substantially depopulated Gaza into U.S. Trump's vision of a high-tech Riviera of the Middle East, which we've covered before. Right? Brimming with private investment and replete with artificial intelligence-powered smart cities. Again, sounds very familiar, Brett. Maybe you're watching. Maybe you saw us talk about it. I don't know. That's according to a 38-page prospectus for a proposed Gaza reconstruction, economic acceleration, and transform great trust obtained by the Washington Post. Oh, really? Obtained by the Washington Post. And published in a report on Sunday. Parts of the proposal were previously reported by the Financial Times. So this is what he's talking about, right? This is the thing that's being circulated around. Okay, it's a little PowerPoint, right? From a demolished Iranian proxy to a prosperous Abrahamic ally, right? And this is their architectural model for what they want Gaza to look like, right? So keep that in mind.
Why can't America look like that?
So, well,
Israel, why can't America look like that?
Look, this is a U.S.-led multilateral custodianship, otherwise known as a fucking occupation. That's what that is, right? Leading to a reformed Palestinian self-government. It can start as a U.S.-Israel bilateral agreement, taking control from Israel to the U.S. once Hamas is disarmed, and evolve to a former multilateral trusteeship. $70 billion to $100 billion in public investment, triggering a $35 to $65 billion private investment. Funding covers all aspects, including 10 mega construction projects, humanitarian assistance, economic development, generous voluntary they fucking, you know what this is. This is the shit. Look, go ahead.
Pause for 1 second. So I'm somewhat of a, not a nerd, but like a public transportation connoisseur. You kind of know it. And like, I've been watching with interest and discuss how Philly's like SEPTA, like Philly's Metro regional public transportation system has been cut due to lack of funding. Now, to me, that's just ridiculous.
Sure.
Be given like that's a public need, and you're basically willing to just trash it. But I think that's just kind of synonymous of America anyway, given how little we fund our public transportation systems anyway. But looking here, it's like billions of dollars towards a foreign country for their public transportation.
But it's America, America first, Collin. It's America first, bro. You know? Anyway. Fucking, we're gonna create jobs. Yeah, the fuck it doesn't. Yeah, okay. So this I found interesting. Look at this little map here, right? So what do they find important? Right? Let's look over the legend. Let's do some map reading. We're gonna check the legend. Look, this is a major port. This is a proposed mega project. Metal and minerals are right here in gray. this blue is Gaza, right? And this is a planned rail and a proposed rail, right? So, okay, let's look at all that. Look at all that big gray strip that they want, right? From Saudi Arabia all the way up here. Look at these ports. Bing, bing, bing. Look, more ports. Bing, bing, bing. Look, there's Gaza right there, right in the fucking way. That's their thought. It's right there in the way. Okay, so if we're gonna get all this, we gotta take this little bit out, right? So, and look at these mega projects. Look here they are. Look at all this shit. Or that's water. Where's the mega project? Is in fucking weird green, right? So this bit, right? Okay. So, in case you were wondering,
Egypt, partially.
Yeah. So you were talking about urban design, right? This is here, right? So is the 19th century Paris. This plan aims to address one of Gaza's ongoing insurgency root causes, its urban design. So remember last week when we talked about urbanization, right? And how they're trying to figure out ways of dealing with an urban insurgency, right? This is one of the ways. This is why people are like, smart cities are fucking stupid and they're going to use to control you. That's what they're trying to do, right? So they're trying to make the urban environment not as difficult for them to like police, essentially, right? So new design envisions 8 pie slice shaped smart cities with mixed-use residences, commerce, light industry, and other facilities, including clinics and hospitals, schools, and more. With large alleys at their center, the cities will be interconnected through a ring, a tram, and a highway, enabling excellent access to industrial, tourism, and logistical areas. Also giving them access.
Boring.
Yep. Green area, yeah, but it's secretly green areas, including agricultural land, parks, and golf courses, will separate the cities. All services and economy in these cities will be done through ID-based, AI-powered digital systems. Okay? No. Any questions? So this is their little, right, like you get your little freeway, big circle freeway, right? Interconnected freeways, and the cities are at the points. This is their idea, right? So look at this though, Abraham Gateway. That's railways to Egypt, Israel, and so this is economics and logistics and control, right? Advanced manufacturing example, right? An EV industrial zone. So they're wanting to build electric vehicles here, right? We've talked about this literally ad nauseum, right? So minerals and materials shipped from KSA and UAE. So why do you think they've been involved, right? In all this, it's because they've got their pie in the mix. So guess what they are also part of this thing being shared. So look, here the SDS logistics area and the aid distribution area that they pretty much turn into a kill zone for IDF, as well as themselves, right? So, but yeah, so let's look at their primary investment categories, right? This is who they're trying to market this to. This is a marketing presentation, keep in mind, right? So look, the permanent residential housing, Care Bear, we gotta cover that. You can make money giving people houses, right? So first year investment, 5.2 billion, you'll get back, right? Total investment, 35.3 billion, right? So they're putting these, right? Dutco Construction, Atco, Arabian Construction, Saudi Bin Laden Group, right? What else we got? We've got infrastructure rebuild. Guess who's part of this? Look at that. Fucking IKEA. They got IKEA down here. Gonna get those fucking Billy bookcases in. You know? Fucking okay. Like, and these is in the billions of investment dollars that they're telling people that they should put in. Right? You know, talking about debris removal. Right? All that shit. This is what they're hoping someone else will pay for.
Right.
For their own.
That in of itself, I'm like, how much money would that cost to clean / pure,
2 billion,
whatever you want to call
2 billion, they're saying. So 4.1 billion overall.
That seems low to me.
I mean, it's billions of dollars. So we got security.
Probably closer to the trillions, if anything else.
Security's got to make money here, right? You know, you got your fucking Dynacorp, your AKE Group, your Mission Essential, your MAG Aerospace, right? All these fucking Blackwater bullshits. They got to make money, right? Who else, Care Bear? Well, we're going to have to teach these kids not to fucking blow us up if we're going to be here, right? So we're going to get Bluemont involved. We're going to get Carmod and ACOM and whatever this education above all group is, right? You know, 2.6 billion total investment is what they're looking for. So, yeah, look, we got
can barely get that for schools here.
Public and private partnership. There's another word for that, for public and private partnering. Starts with an F. Y'all kids will know. So, a PPP model for key infrastructure investments. The trust can leverage private capital, industry, technical experts, and shared accountability to accelerate project delivery, improve efficiencies, and deliver high-quality, sustainable infrastructure to support long-term economic recovery. PPP investments will be made for synergy, power, brand. I fucking corporate PowerPoints are the worst things in the world, dude. Again, medical, rail infrastructure, right? All that shit. But anyway, private industries, they got Tesla and Amazon, all that shit for data centers, all that stuff is part of this too, right? IHG, hotels and resorts, right? Is that Hilton? What's IHG? Anyone know in the chat? Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group, right? They're here too. So I'm sure there's some big money powers there, but overall, right, this is what they're valuing Gaza to be, right? A 320 billion asset value by year 10 will create significant value for all involved stakeholders, right? So, I mean, this is just free money for them. That's what they're looking at this as. So, back to Brett. Gaza can transform into a Mediterranean hub for manufacturing, trade, data, and tourism, benefiting from its strategic location, access to markets, resources, and a young workforce, all supported by Israeli tech and Gulf Cooperation Council investments, the prospectus states. However, to journalist Hala Jaber, the plan amounts to genocide packaged as real estate. The Great Trust was drafted by some of the same Israelis behind the controversial GHF, whose aid distribution points in Gaza have been the sites of deliberate massacres and other incidents in which thousands of aid-seeking Palestinians have been killed or wounded. According to the Post, financial modeling for the Great Trust proposal was done by a team working at the time for the Boston Consulting Group, which played a key role in creating GHF. BCG told the Post that the firm did not approve work on the trust plan and that two senior partners who led the financial modeling were subsequently terminated. The Great Trust envisions a U.S.-led multilateral custodianship lasting a decade or longer and leading to a reformed Palestinian self-governance after Gaza is demilitarized and de-radicalized. Some
Which
fucking
means what?
Orwellian shit is what that is. We're going to have fucking re-education camps.
So puppet.
Yeah. A vassal state for Israel and the United States and whatever. So Whitney Webb, responds the plan to turn Gaza into an ethnically cleansed Riviera of the Middle East appears to go back almost a decade to 2016, when Paolo Zempoli, the man who says he introduced Trump to Melania and who is now his special envoy for global partnerships, was pitching it to journalists and politicians alike. Zempoli, a protege of Jean Casablancas, also has considered Epstein network connections and has been involved in an insane number of scams and scandals over the year. Mark Goodwin and Whitney Webb published a 9,000-page autism info dump that is difficult to read all the way through, but if you want to, it's linked on her website. So, but Decentered News says, good find, Whitney Webb. Did Mattia Ferrasi or anyone else quote Zempoli saying this at the time? Whereas February 2025, the first time it was attributed to him publicly. The idea of turning Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East was also put forward by Israeli settler Org Nachala in a promo vid published no later than early 2024. Possibly a little before that, some of Trump's other talking points on the subject echo Nachala as well, particularly its director, Daniela Weiss, who CNN has called the godmother of the Zionist settler movement. I just love how that name can make Collin so upset. You know, can't blame him. Also, this just in, journalist in my ear, Vanessa Beeley, is saying that the Tony Blair Institute also involved here. So, yeah, just a fucking cavalcade of shit. That's who's involved here. So, just speaking of that, Josh Paul, former U.S. State Department official who resigned in October of the Biden administration decision to sell more arms to Israel as it waged a war on Gaza, increasingly viewed by experts as genocidal, told Democracy Now! Last week that Trump's plan for Gaza is essentially a new form of colonialism and transition from Israeli colonialism to corporate colonialism. The Great Trust contains two proposals for Gaza's more than 2 million Palestinians. Under one plan, approximately 75% of Gaza's population would remain in the Strip during its transformation. The second proposal involves up to 500,000 Gazans relocating to third countries, 75% of them permanently. And I don't know about you, but I would not trust the Israelis leading me towards an airplane. Right. Yes, right this way, sir. Your flight is through here. Just first step through this fucking shower. Like, at this point, I don't fucking have hope for that. The prospectus does not say how many Palestinians would leave under the relocation option. Those who chose to permanently relocate to unspecified countries would each receive $5,000 plus 4 years of subsidized rent and subsidized food for a year. Paid for by whom? Who's paying for that?
Us more. Probably us.
Could you imagine if Collin, look, I'll offer you $5,000 plus rent and food covered for a year if you go to fucking, I don't know, like Ghana. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, subsidized. So, like, I'll have to pay a little bit, but like,
sure.
If you do that,
you're also getting $5,000. Right. The Grant Trust allocates $6 billion for temporary housing for Palestinians who remain and $5 billion for those who relocate. Okay. Proposal projects huge projects for investors, nearly 4 times the return on investment, and annual revenue of $4.5 billion within a decade. The project would be a boon for companies ranging from builders, including Saudi Bin Laden Group, infrastructure specialists like IKEA, the mercenary firm Academia, former Blackwater, right? U.S. military contractor KSOL, which last year was found liable for torturing Iraqis at Abu Ghraib, electric vehicle manufacturer Tesla, Amazon, hoteliers Mandarin Oriental, and IHG Hotels and Resorts. So, central to the plan are 10 mega projects, including half a dozen smart cities, a regional logistics hub to be built over the ruins of the southern city of Rafah. a central highway named after Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia and other wealthy Gulf states feature prominently in the proposal, and investors, large-scale solar and desalination plants, a U.S. data safe haven, an Elon Musk smart manufacturing zone, and Gaza Trump Riviera and islands similar to the Palm Islands in Dubai. In addition to massive financial gains for private U.S. investors, the Great Trust lists strategic benefits for the United States that could enable it to strengthen its hold in the East Mediterranean and secure U.S. industry access to $1.3 trillion of rare earth minerals from the Gulf. In case you were wondering, earlier this year, Trump said the U.S. would take over Gaza, American real estate developers would level it out and build the Riviera of the Middle East atop its ruins after Palestinians, all of them, leave Palestine's coastal enclave. The president called for the voluntary transfer of Gazans to Egypt and Jordan, both of whose leaders vehemently rejected the plan. Voluntary immigration is widely considered a euphemism for ethnic cleansing, given Palestinians' general unwillingness to leave their homeland. Also a war crime, Brett, by the way. I know you know. According to May, survey by the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research, nearly half of Gazans expressed a willingness to apply for Israeli assistance to relocate to other countries. Of course they would. They've been fucking bombed for fucking ages. However, many in Gazans say that they would never leave the Strip, where most inhabitants are descendants of survivors of the Nakba, the ethnic cleansing of more than 750,000 Palestinians during the creation of Israel in 1948. Some are actual Nakba survivors. I'm staying in a partially destroyed house in Khan Yunis now, one Gazan man told the Post, but we could renovate. I refuse to be made to go to another country, Muslim or not. This is my homeland. The Post reporter follows a meeting last Wednesday at the White House where Trump admin officials and invited guests, including UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, investor and real estate developer Jared Kushner, who is also the president's son-in-law, and Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer discussed Gaza's future. Of course fucking Tony Blair showed the fuck up. While Dermer reportedly claimed that Israel does not seek to permanently occupy Gaza, Prime Minister Netanyahu is wanted by the ICJ for alleged crimes against humanity and war crimes, including murder and forced starvation in Gaza, said they will conquer the entire strip and keep at least large parts of it. We conquer, cleanse, and stay until Hamas is destroyed, Bezalel Smotrich recently said. On the way, we annihilate everything that still remains. The Knesset also recently hosted a conference called the Gaza Riviera, From Vision to Reality, where participants openly discussed the occupation and ethnic cleansing of the Strip. So, great trust comes as Israeli forces push deeper into Gaza City amid a growing engineered famine that has killed at least hundreds of Palestinians and is starving thousands more. Israel's 696-day assault and siege on Gaza has left at least 233,000 Palestinians dead, wounded, or missing, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, whose casualty figures are seen as a likely undercount by experts. So, Collin, let me remind you, all the way back in May of 2024, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Indy covered a Vanessa Beeley article talking about Netanyahu's dystopian vision for Gaza's future. I have the Substack to this episode linked in the description. You're welcome to go down there and look. It also has Vanessa Beeley's article linked, right? This article right here, right? Look. Does this image look familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. This again was from May 10th of 2024. Right? So if you're paying attention to the show, you're literally a year ahead of everybody else. Okay? And then some. A year and then some. Like, we've done past May, right? Of May 2025, been long gone by now. Right? So, yeah, I mean... So, hold on. My PowerPoint thing broke again. But it's okay. I'm going to get caught up. I promise. Back. So, this is so in that article, Vanessa Beeley translated a Ynet article, right? So here's that Ynet article, right? This is the utopian vision for the strip. Okay. So in that Ynet article, look at the pictures they include. These are the pictures they include in this Ynet article, right? These ones that we just saw a minute ago. I wonder where they got them. Well, they got them from a fucking PowerPoint. The same fucking PowerPoint. This time in Hebrew. How the motherfucking WAPO get a fucking scoop, breaking scoop from a year ago? How that shit fucking happened? Huh? Like, granted, it has a couple more slides in it, but like, it's the fucking same PowerPoint. I want to fucking strangle people. Like, catch up. Where we've been talking about this shit. Welcome to the club. All right. Any thoughts?
We talked about this offline, like yesterday. Like, technically, we talked about this with Brett for a similar issue nearly 2 years ago, because he wrote an article that we talked to him about on the show regarding Israel, like the connection of the real estate industry here, like selling plots in the West Bank, which is illegal. And or I believe, I forget like the full details, but in Gaza, but he thought it was a joke. Like the way he kind of presented, he thought it was a joke, and we were like, no, it's not. So, but yeah, so kind of on the line there, 2 years ago almost.
Yeah.
That
which I know there might be people that might be off limits at Common Dreams, but they're not off limits to you, Brett. You can go fucking read them. I know you're out here, you're paying attention, and it's not just you. Like, I'm more mad at everyone else and the WAPO. I'm definitely mad at the WAPO. So for being like, oh, this is brand new scoop, just released, just circulating. Like, no, it's been here. Like we've been new. Thanks for catching up. But anyway, I think I've yelled at people enough. Pay attention. Go follow Vanessa Beeley. She'll keep you a year ahead of everyone else. But any last thoughts other than YouTube's demonetized us for talking about this shit a year ago?
Please subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. Also, we appreciate any dollars you can help keep the lights on over here. You can scan that QR code or go to code-fee.com/Indie News Network, or it's always in the description below if you would like to go do that. If you're one of the poors like ourselves and can't help us monetarily, just share the video. It's literally like the least you could do. You sat here and watched the whole thing. Like you're at the end of the video. You might as well leave a comment while you're here. Press the like button, and tell us what you think. Like, especially with those smart cities might be coming to a town near you here soon. You might let me know how you feel about that. But otherwise, thanks for watching.